staying healthy, staying sexy, staying young is what living life is all about. And if you have doctors that have proven treatments that keep people young and healthy so they don't get sick, um, you want people to know about these treatments and that they exist.
This episode is brought to you by Gainswave. Gainswave is a treatment done at your doctor's office to optimize erection quality without the need of Viagra, Cialis. It's non-surgical, there's no needles, and it has an amazing success rate. To find a Gainswave provider, go to gainswave.com. That's GAINSWAVE.com. Hello, this is Mark L. White today with Health Hacks, and today we have Talwinder Sidhu. And Terry, where are you located?
I'm in a little town called Nelson in British Columbia, up here in Canada.
Ah, from the Great White North.
Yeah, although the accent might throw people off. I was born and raised in the UK.
Okay, well, welcome to the show. And it's exciting, like when I was reading a little bit about your bio, you're into meditation, and everybody's talking about, like, that's the buzzword right now is meditate. You have people, should everybody be meditating?
Absolutely. If everybody needs sleep in their lives, everyone needs meditation too. Like in my world, meditation was just as valuable to your body and your life as sleep. You sleep to recover from the limitations of your body. You need something to recover from the limitations of your mind. And if we're not doing that actively as a species, let alone anything else, we're really not harnessing our full potential. We're not really connecting to our entire intelligence, really.
So why did you get into it? Was it something that you were brought up with, or did you have this aha moment, say, you know what, I'm going to learn something new to help?
It's actually a bit of both. I grew up meditating. My mom introduced me to meditation, and then it was just kind of part of my life. I didn't realize that people didn't meditate. It was that kind of normalized in my upbringing. It was in the religious art, it was in the teachings, it was in my mom's lessons. Like, meditation was just everywhere, and it was just something that we always had to do. And then I was life coaching in Canada. Like, there's a whole journey, started life coaching, and my clients started asking me about mental health. And I was like, oh yeah, just do this with your meditation practice. And they were like, well, what meditation practice? And that's when I realized, oh, people are meditating. So it's kind of, I started teaching those basic techniques that I grew up with. And it just, the aha moment kind of came as like, oh, I can actually teach this then, I suppose. Instead of trying to coach people into achieving specific goals, what if I just teach them meditation so that they can see the sense or the common sense in creating the lives that they want? And it kind of just grew from there. But yeah, meditating all my life pretty much. There was a phase where I didn't meditate, between the ages of like 16 to about the age of 24, 25. And I learned a lot during those years. But yeah, without meditation, my life really spun out of control. But with it, it's just, I don't know, the complete clarity and sense that I get about life. It's wonderful.
So, it's funny that, everybody's acting like meditation's this thing. Oh, it's, meditation is in. But when you look at like the great religions, meditation's always been a part of, whether it's Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Hindu. We've always seen like this component, whether it's silent prayer, so like I don't know, like, why do you think there's this like awakening to meditation when it's been around forever?
I think it's because from what I understood, like, I talk in terms of seeing how my parents immigrated from India to the UK, and kind of the things and the traditions that they lost through that transition between, moving from one country to another. And it really comes down to the convenience of life. I think, especially since the Industrial Revolution, I think prior to that, there's probably more emphasis on going to spiritual service, like going to church, going to the temple and whatnot. So there was kind of a little bit of meditative standpoint when it comes to praying. But I think that we started losing that the more and more life just became a convenient experience. We don't need to grow food anymore, so we're losing that connection with the earth. And so as it started leaving, And with the pandemic and with everything that's going on in the world, realizing that, yeah, well, no, we need to wake up and start taking care of ourselves properly. And I think that's where meditation is starting to creep back in. You know, we're reconnecting with our relationship to the planet, especially with the global warming crisis. And now that we're in states of isolation too, it's just kind of added more fuel to meditate, to actually understand, well, why am I here? What am I doing? We're going into all these reflective moments, whether it was warranted or not by what's going on in the world. And it's leading people to get into states of contemplation and meditate. I think that's probably it's just like a global shift that's occurring again.
Now with your clients, and I think in general, everybody's so connected now. We're all connected to our iPhones. We're on a 24-hour news cycle. News is never good. We, of course, have this pandemic going on. Do you think like the social media and this full-time connected, is meditation just a way of us saying, let's just disconnect?
Yes and no. I think it's like the whole yoga style, right? You've got this yoga for attention, where you're just doing all these poses in wonderful kind of ways and showing off your body and whatnot. And I think there is an element of people meditating just to kind of say that they do it as a buzz thing. However, I don't necessarily think it's just to disconnect. I think there's a lot of information regarding meditation, especially when you start looking at the way mindfulness is taught and you start looking at the way the apps teach meditation. There's so much misinformation about it. And the reason why, and meditation actually has a high drop-off rate. So when people try to meditate, they don't necessarily continue the practice forward. So I think we're still at a stage of understanding what meditation really is in order to comprehend what to do with it. So if people are using it to disconnect, maybe, but meditation forces you to connect with your truth. You know, you have to deal with what's on your mind. And most people disconnect to get away from that truth. So I think that will be counterintuitive to the whole process of detaching from any experience that you're having in life. With regards to social media, I think especially the younger generation, the younger clients I work with, and in the groups I coach, I see that they're turning to meditation because they can't turn to religion because it just doesn't make sense and they can't comprehend the stories and the knowledge. They can't turn to the elders because they're learning at a way faster rate than their parents. I mean, there's so much conflict and gap between generations now because, you know, my 18-year-old nephew knows more about the world than I and the state of it and what's going on that I didn't realize until I was, say, like 30. So their kids are learning at a faster rate. So where else can people turn? And that's where meditation starts coming in. It's like, oh, there's this thing I can do to actually learn about myself and realize the state of the world and what really is going on. What is all this creation for? I can learn that for myself. And I think that's where meditation is really starting to kind of creep in terms of people's curiosities and what they want.
Now you referred to like the apps, and I'm thinking like I look at my phone, I've downloaded so many apps. I have Headspace, I have Calm, I have Breathe. And you're right, like you know, there's like I'll do a few weeks and then done. And I don't really get into it. How does one turn this into a habit? And I agree. I think once they know how to do it, they don't need the apps. But like, how does one get started?
Yeah. You got to understand the apps are. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm just. I had a whole bunch of almonds earlier, and now I've got one stuck in the back of my throat. Sorry. So how does one detach from the apps and kind of start meditating independently? Well, you need to, what the apps aren't doing is teaching you how to meditate. And one thing you need to remember in this digital world, these apps and these companies are really for profit, which is okay, but they're not teaching you how to meditate. They're teaching you how to become, you know, reliant on the app. There's the first thing. Secondly, these apps are more relaxation apps than they are meditation apps. When I teach, they teach you to relax and reduce stress, but beyond that, they're not going to really help you learn how to meditate. And that's the team that I'm working with, and what I'm trying to build is to change all of that now, to really get people to understand the formula of meditation and how to meditate. And like, for example, a guided meditation, they're really only designed to guide awareness in so that you start meditating. The guided meditation is not the meditation itself. The whole point of the guided meditation is like a set of instructions to say, okay, get into position, start locking into your meditation now. Are you feeling comfortable? Whatever. And then boom, you start meditating. It's almost like in a yoga class, you have your teacher telling you all the poses you do, then you do the poses, stretch into them, hold them for a little while until the teacher gives you the next move. That's what a guided meditation is supposed to be for. And then once your awareness is in, you start meditating, you do your conscious processing. But these apps, you got to understand, like if you look at, when I see these apps, well, I look at who they're hiring, and you realize, especially Headspace, they're hiring more tech people to get you to be more reliant on these apps than they are hiring meditation teachers and people like that. So you've got to really transition and move into meditating independently. You really want to learn how to meditate, understand like how to detach from the experiences that you're experiencing in life. I teach a 5-step meditation process to do that. There's many other ways, but it really is now, you have to train your mind, not just sit with it.
So walk me through the 5-step process. Like how do you get into it? And I guess anybody can do it. You don't really need anything, right? You just do it.
Yeah, the 5-step process to meditation is very simple. So it goes breathing, positioning, locking, meditating, and integrating. And I like to share it as a mantra. So breathe, position, lock, meditate, integrate. Dead simple. And when I explain it, you realize the logic behind it as well. Number one is breath. For many spiritual and esoteric reasons, breath is the foundation of your life. I mean, without breath, there is no life. So that's what we're learning to get in control of first, is to inhale and exhale through the nose and get in control of your breath. It's like that pump that gives life, and whatever you're focusing on, that pump is giving life too. So if you're focusing on your anxieties is sucking all that life energy out, and you're breathing into that anxiety. We breathe differently when we're angry. We breathe differently when we're stressed. We breathe differently when we're calm. So once we're in control of that breath, we're choosing the state of mind that we want to set as our control state. So that's the first thing we need to learn. What is my control state? How do I navigate through this life? By the simple guidance of my breath. How do I want to breathe to experience this thing? So we start with breath. Get in control of your breath and get in control of that pump. Once you're in control of your breath and you're focused on that, the next thing is to start listening to the body. You've settled your body. You've settled into your meditation. It's time to breathe and get into position. Listen, maybe there's a bit of tension in the legs. Maybe there's a bit of tension that you need to release. Okay, deal with that. Because that's going to be a hindrance to your meditation. If you're trying to meditate and your body's like aching and in pain, you're not going to be able to really sit in stillness. So breathe and take a moment to listen to your body and get into a comfortable position. So breathe, position. And then once you're in control and you're comfortable, lock into your meditation. Now at the beginning stages, this is what I'm going to explain is going to sound like a very real ritualistic process, but there is a little bit of logic behind it. So when locking into your meditation, you're essentially rolling your eyes up towards the center of your mind. It's as if to move away from what I call outsight to insight. And it's handing conscious control over from your physical senses to basically the metaphysical third eye, if you want to call it. But just having that ritualistic approach of just locking your eyes up, and this is a gentle and subtle movement, allows you to almost kind of like a robot docking into a standby mode. It kind of will feel like that. And having that little kind of separation allows you to understand that now I'm locking into my meditation. And then step 4, you're meditating. And what will happen is for like a millisecond, you'll meditate. And then all of a sudden you hear something or you smell something or you think something and you're completely distracted and you become attached to that, whatever you're dealing with. So let's say you were sitting in meditation, someone walks through the door. You now can't think about anything else but the sound of the door, who walked through the door, why they're in there, and so on and so forth. So that's okay. You've basically broken your meditation. If you become reattached to something, start again. What do? Step 1, go back to breath and get back in control. Step 2, reposition your body if you need to. Maybe it was your body that was the distraction. Step 3, lock back into your meditation. You're meditating. And now let's say you meditate for 2 seconds. Boom, another distraction. Maybe this time it was a memory or an anxiety that gripped you. The moment you realize that, go back to step 1. And then eventually you keep on practicing that whole process of detaching, and that's where the training comes in, until you get to arrive at a point where you feel as if you're in the mindset, or you have the clarity or whatever you need to counteract the challenges you're dealing with life. Maybe you've arrived at that point of how you want to feel. Maybe that's calm, stress-free. And once you've arrived at a state where you are ready to reawaken in life, step 5, integrate. You basically, and that's where mindfulness begins. That's where, before you awaken into your meditation, you pay attention to everything that you just learned and did. You really understand that you are now in that mindset that you need to kind of live this life and do what you need to do next to evolve it. And once you integrate that, before you awaken, mindfulness is basically to, right, what am I going to do? What do I need to pay attention to? What am I going to say? Do I need to send an email? Do I need to eat? Do I need to sleep? Do I need to rest? What do I need to do now that I have the clarity and control that I have? What actions can I take? What's the next thing I'm going to have to say? And there's your mindfulness that you integrate and awaken.
So when you say like you meditate, is the whole goal to not have thoughts, or to just look at the thoughts as like a third detached person and just let them go? Like, what's the goal of meditating?
The formal definition, because one of the hardest chapters I was struggling to put together in my book was answering the question, well, what is meditation? And that's when so I was looking at all my notes, and I decided to give this as the definition, and this will help answer that question. Meditation is the process in which you study a creation from the perspective of a creator, so that you can understand or study or explore how that creation came to be. Now, a creation is everything but you at this point. So you are the creator, and everything that you're experiencing is a creation. So the simplest example I can think of is, let's think of a problem in your life, which is causing you all these thoughts and feelings to be distracted by. That problem, think of it as a creation that is separate from you, that has a life of its own. You're now sitting detached from that and looking at that from a creator's perspective. How did that creation come to life? How did that creation come into my life? How am I experiencing that creation? As a creator, how did that happen? And the reason why I identify everybody as a creator is because if a problem has been created in life, you can create a solution.
That's true.
If stress has been created in life, you can create calm. If fear has been created in your life, you can create courage. You just got to realize what you need to create to counteract whatever you're experiencing that you're not happy with.
Now, when we talk about time meditating, and I have tried meditating, I do meditate. I find, first of all, I find consistency's hard. Second of all, like I start to get bored 5-10 minutes into it, and I start thinking, and before I know it, I'm down a rabbit hole. And, you know, it's hard to have that self-awareness to like just know that you're lost in thought.
Don't beat yourself up when you do that. The moment you realize that it's kind of like, do you know when you struggle to sleep and you're stuck on a thought, and then you're thinking, and you're like, right, no, I've got to sleep. You know, you've got to separate from those thoughts and sleep. It's kind of the same in meditation. Sometimes I'll be sitting in meditation, I'll get carried away with an idea, thinking about it, and I was like, oh, wait, no, I don't need to be thinking about this now. I'm trying to get to this state of mind. And that's, you simply repeat the process, go back to breath and start again. Meditation for the early stages is all training the mind to meditate. You don't just sit in meditation and boom, you're meditating. You have to train your mind to operate differently. You have to learn how your mind operates and how it navigates through these thoughts, so that you can measure how quickly something takes your breath away. And really, you're just sustaining at the beginning that control of breath. Then something else captures your attention, takes your breath away, like a thought or a feeling, you come back. And you keep repeating that until you understand the process that, oh, I'm in control. I'm in charge every single moment of my life. Anytime I want to, and it's training the mind to decide when to relinquish control, when to just dive into experience or dive into thought and allow it to kind of take over your experience of life. If you want that to happen, by all means, go for it. You can do that in meditation. That's still meditating, as long as you're consciously aware of it, that you can pull yourself out of it anytime.
So with me, I find sometimes I've struggled with anxiety and impulsiveness. I get distracted very easy. So I was taking meditation for that, and it helped tremendously. But what other health benefits can anyone expect from having a practice?
Health benefits, it all starts with where where you start with your meditation. There's this concept called chakras, which teaches you about the intelligence within your body. And I highly recommend, if you're brand new to meditation, you start working with your chakras, because it's a truth that you can connect with that no one else can teach you about you and your life. An undeniable truth that you have access to straight away. Think of a chakra like a little microchip in your body that has its own little data. And you are now learning from that microchip about how that specific area of your body or life is operating. So let's talk about the first chakra, which is your root chakra. That's all connected to your physical health and your experience of life. So that's it. That is where you would start your meditations. You will start paying attention to your health issues, your physical health issues. Are you eating healthy? What are you consuming? This is how you can learn about the things that perhaps shouldn't be eating. You know, you don't need to go to a test to get a big bunch of needles to find out it's not good for your body, if you just listen to your body and your digestive system and things like that. And so now you're learning about what the body needs. Very basic stuff, really early on. Understand how your body how to sustain your experience of life with your body. Most of us, we've figured that out already the moment we're born. You know, we lived a life where we know what to eat and what not to eat, thankfully. So then we move on to the next chakra, which is the sacral. And this is you now raising your intelligence to the point of understanding why you're anxious, why you're dealing with these thoughts and feelings. The next chakra is all about learning how to play. So now that you've unlocked all the health benefits that you can gain from by meditating, understanding what your body needs, you can understand now what you're curious about, what you want to learn about, what do you want to experience in this experience called life. That alone will reduce a bunch of anxiety, because you'll know exactly what you want to experience. Like, I know what to do. And then, so once you understand that, you now you move to the next level of intelligence, where it's like that self-trust and gut. You know how to keep yourself alive, and you know what to do with your body and how to experience life. Once you've got those two undeniable truths, you have self-trust. You know now you have a measurement, like when you're connecting with people, are they detrimental to my physical health? Are they keeping me from enjoying this playground called life? And so now you know whether people are good for you and the energies you're interacting. You know what foods are good for you, what food will keep you enjoying your life, and what food will restrict it. These are the basics. These are just the beginning. There's 7 chakras and we're at number 3. And then 4, heart. Oh, the heart is beautiful. Once you've got that basic level of trust within yourself and truth, the heart chakra, when you start, and I always say, think of the heart chakra like its own communication tool. You know, and if you close your eyes and you think about that, the whole world exists in darkness, and the only thing that we can hear is each other's heartbeats. Imagine being only able to communicate with each other's heartbeats, like da-dum, 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 you know, that whole concept of literally only communicating that way. We would build an incredible relationship with our hearts and our well-being. Learn that in meditation, and learn how to use that in meditation. Man, just think about walking down the street, listening to your heart and realize it's going fast. Why? And immediately understanding what's causing my heartbeat to go fast. Am I healthy? Am I eating right? Am I hungry? Am I tired? Is my body exhausted?
What's my body trying to tell me?
Yeah.
That's...
And then, yeah. And even when you go to a bar and you're feeling anxious, oh my God, social anxiety, all these people to talk to, and your heart's going like that.
And their hearts are all doing the same thing too.
Yeah. But your first thing is like, before I jump into this, let me control this thing that's beating a mile a minute. You're learning to build this relationship with your body. And I promise you, most mental health illnesses will probably be rectified from that point. Because after that, it's truth, it's expression, it's frequency. Why would you want to communicate when your heart's going a mile a minute? You want to communicate when your heart's at the rate that your breath wants to be at. There's this exercise I do with kids when I teach them meditation. I get them to run on the spot really fast, get them out of breath. And I get them to find their pulse, and I get them to breathe to reduce their pulse into a controlled beat. Because that's all you need to learn when it comes to reducing anxiety, especially social anxiety. Get your breathing and your heart rate right. Focus on those elements. But in order to keep them healthy, you need to keep your health intact, and you need to know how to feel safe and secure, and how you need to be in order to play comfortably in this world and be in this world. Get all those basics covered, learn to manage it, and there's the first half of all those health and mental health benefits. from there, you start going into more spiritual states of awareness. I'm talking understanding your purpose, realizing your reason for being. When we talk about the benefits of meditation, we are literally talking about what is beneficial for you in life and how can you learn how to exercise and gain or develop or, take advantage of that benefit. It's, the benefits are plenty. It's where you really want to start.
Now, when you say that, so we talked about the first 4 chakras. What are the other 3 chakras?
So we have truth or throat chakra, which is basically makes you mindful of, you want it because once you've got to this point, you're at a really nice equilibrium in your life. You know now how to navigate through this world and keep yourself safe, secure, and healthy. So then naturally you can start expressing yourself a little bit more, talking about what you've learned, what your experiences, what you're consuming. Then you have the third eye chakra, and that's now your inner truth. So all of this information that you learned about the body and your life now fuels this third eye chakra. And the third eye is all about, I sort of call it like your sixth sense or your sense of truth. That's the eye that can measure people's heartbeats and judge frequencies and play. I mean, it's very metaphysical. It's the eye that is basically, consider it like your eye of meditation, doing that point where it says you're a creator observing creation. When you're in meditation, you are operating from that eye. You are the creator's eye. It just opens more and more and more the more you learn about truth in your life and body and reason to exist and creation and whatnot. Most people's third eye are probably like open this much. I always say each time you meditate, think of like that third eye as an eye that's looking up. And the eyelid is here at your eyebrows. The aim of the game is more you learn, the more this eye opens until you can fully open it and see beyond into the spiritual states of whatever.
That's so cool. So it's like being the observer, and looking at your thoughts almost from just a detached point of view and opening up that third eye.
Yeah, that third eye is like consciousness itself, consciousness in its entirety. Our body, like if I ask you to think about what you had for breakfast, are you physically stepping into that memory with your body to go and retrieve that memory? No. You're sitting in meditation, something else is going to pick that up. I always say, imagine a third eye like a deity with thousands and thousands of arms sitting in the middle of your mind, pulling in data, creating, constructing realities, anxieties, whatever. You just got to learn how to get control and operate that deity, that third eye. And once you've got that, you can put everything away or detach from everything, stop creating stuff, just detach until you can open the crown. And that's when you start connecting. That's your like, that's the big kind of DMT hit, I call it. It's the day you open up and connect with source.
Yeah, you hear about like people using psilocybin and magic mushrooms, and I haven't done that. I'd like to try that one day, but a lot of people say you can achieve that type of benefit just through like this meditation practice, and it helps open up the doors to your innermost consciousness. Is that what like just having a regular meditation does?
But yeah, the difference between, because I've worked with the psychedelic community very closely, and I've been trying to get, like, it's almost like speaking to a brick wall. I was like, why would you take a psychedelic before learning how to meditate? It's counterintuitive to the psychedelic. I mean, these eye-opening, these transcendental experiences that people are having through psilocybin mushrooms and LSD and stuff, it's not teaching you about your intelligence. You're not actively learning and integrating every step of the way. Are you even preparing your body to even be ready to accept such knowledge and awareness? Or is it going to be an illusion the moment you sober up?
Yeah, you're depending on a drug to get you somewhere that you can get to on your own as long as you make it a practice.
And once you get there, and it's a sustainable practice too, because once you learn innately, it's like, do you know how you go from elementary all the way to university? It's kind of, meditation is like that. But most people are starting at the elementary level. And you just got to keep on going until you realize, oh, wow. Like I said, how are you supposed to accept God when you can't even accept your body? And things like that. It drives me insane sometimes. Like, come on, wake up. How can you even comprehend what literally is in what forces are exactly at play here? when you don't even understand what a healthy meal is.
What do you recommend? I'm sorry. I was
Continue.
going to say, like I'm thinking about how cool this is, but I'm also thinking like people that have meditated say, you know, to get to that level can take you years and years. And I'm like, well, I want to get there tomorrow, or I want to get there next week or next month. Well, what's like, if somebody gets started, they wake up 20 minutes of meditation in the morning, you meditate in the evening, you meditate just when you get stressed. And then how do you take it to the next level quickly?
You literally, like, even that, the fact that you say, I want to get there quickly is an attachment. You feel like you're missing out on something, feel like you want to attain something because it's going to make you this, that, and the other. Okay, if that's what you really want, are you ready to put in the work? Are you ready to do what it's really going to take? Because all it honestly is very simple. It's just very hard to exercise when it gets to the truth of it. All you need to do, and that's what the 5 steps I teach, is learning how to detach. You need to take that to the next level, to the point where you're detaching now from pain, from your anxieties, from your traumas, from your desires, everything. You can literally go into a state of meditation. And let's say now you get to this level of awareness where you're in this beautiful world and there's gods dancing around you and you're feeling empowered. Are you willing to let that go as well? You have to let go of everything. There's a technique I share, especially for those who are wanting to access those higher states of awareness, and I call it the rejection method. And it's basically rejecting whatever your mind presents to you. You know, you got an irritation? No, thank you. And literally sitting from that creator's perspective. It's almost like you're sitting from this state of, like, I'm in the creator state and I don't want nothing. I don't want anything, relinquishing all desire. You want to seek it. If it's someone, like, let's say you're sitting in meditation, you get this energy saying, hey, come over here. There's a portal into enlightenment. Come hang out. You have to get to a point where you're like, no, thank you. And really detach to a point where even now it's like, because I've had this experience before where you get to certain levels of awareness, like now it's time to detach from love and your connections that you've made in the world, things that keep you safe. You know, detach from your identity as a father, as a lover, as a brother, as a mother, you know, detach from all of that. I'm talking really relinquishing your connection to everything that you've experienced with your body, anything that's in your mind, and any imagination or idea or future perspective of reality that you can imagine. Letting it all go. If you're willing to do that, even then, good luck. Because there's this myth that the portal into enlightenment can only get shown to those who are true, and you have to train your third eye or your eye of truth in order to see it.
I think if the world can figure out how to detach from ego, because I think ego, like our sense of ego and our sense of the identity, I think the world will be a much better place.
The ego, this is the confusion. I mean, Freud had a really good understanding of the ego, I think, where he said there's the ego, there's a super ego, and there's the it, right? The ego is like this platform, this stage. Consider a third eye, your ego. You just got to keep it balanced. You have to keep it in a state of equilibrium that allows you to continue creating what you need to create. If those of us with inflamed egos, the ones, you know, where we, and it happens to me, it happens to the best of us, where, you know, you just get so much praise and love and attention. You're like, yeah, I'm the badass. I'm the person, I can do this, right? That's your ego now tipping more towards the subconscious realms of your existence. You are now experiencing life and it's feeding directly into constructed beliefs. And all the beliefs that we believe in exist in the subconscious mind because it's not something new, it's ingrained. So our ego is now tipped towards memory and towards past and towards experience. So what do we need to do to balance that out? We need to question our beliefs, and we need to really get to a point where we can bring in new ideas and create things that are going to maybe contradict or evolve or deconstruct or destroy the current state of the ego so it can evolve into the new state. This is where we can get highly esoteric now, because a lot of people are like, when I've been to festivals and stuff, I see like people with tattoos of the Om symbol and Shiva and Brahma and Vishnu. And I was like, these are just characters to represent different realms of the mind and different ways of operating. You know, when your ego is overinflamed, Shiva's going to come and destroy it. And that's like a story, but when you think about it, that's a process in meditation whereby you have to actively engage in a state of self-destruction, destroy that ego, destroy the beliefs that are keeping you off balance. And Yeah, this is that's like an hour long, lecture, lesson, whatever, but there's a lot to the ego.
So you wrote a book, Meditate.
Mhm.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
in the your goal, your vision is to take this gift of meditating and sharing it with the world. Do you also, now you said you also work with kids, you work
Mhm.
with people, you do this online, in person, you go to meditation festivals?
I want to create a meditation festival. That would be fun. No, so what I do right now is I was life coaching for so many years and working one-on-one. And I realize it's not sustainable. Like how much work can I do really from just working one-on-one? It's not a good approach. So I started doing the group lessons, and now with the book, now it's out. I'm doing my first ever live meditation training live program. It's a 4-week course where I take everyone from basically the really basics and get them to understand exactly what they're doing in meditation before we even start teaching them how to meditate, which comes on week 2. I give them exercises and tips on how to get started, what meditation is, really have a nice kind of almost like a lecture going where I'm teaching you everything you need to know about meditation, just so that you've got it in your head exactly what you're about to get into. Then week 2, I'm going to teach you how to meditate and to detach and train your mind, and endurance training, I call it. It's like really practicing that over and over and over again. And then week 3, we go into the transcendental journey. If you really want to learn what it's going to take for you to start entering states of transcendence and enlightenment through meditation, practice all of this first. And by week 3, you can start playing around in that realm. You have the journey in your mind, you know what you need to do in order to get there. And then the 4th week, we go into integrative development, which is basically learning the chakra system, because that can be an alternative way to start meditation if you find sitting in contemplation too difficult. Also, it works if, like, so let's say now you've meditated and you broke through and you've met your creator. That last week is going to teach you how to integrate all that knowledge from the root. Learn, right, okay, I've got this knowledge and awareness here, but my body is not accepting it. It does not want it. My experience of life denies this. How am I going to integrate this knowledge into this experience of life? Well, you got to level up your experience of life. And that's what I teach in the last one. So this meditation training course, we're going live on the 22nd of March. And then we'll create an online course from that. And then I'll start teaching more of the other techniques and stuff. But yeah, we're going to grow, teach kids, develop kids programs, write a kids book, start developing different types of programs, start getting more technology involved, meditation through VR, start a foundation where it's committed to people who are engaged in active learning. So those people like students, and basically if people show that they're really passionate about what they're learning and they want to learn everything about it. But so we want to create a foundation where we can give them the support, the life skills, and the support that they need to continue their learning, their pilgrimage of learning, whether it's spiritual, whether it's like learning a skill, whatever it is you want to do that you're passionate about, how can we support you to do that? So that, because what I believe is, if I teach meditation and I can get what I can get to get the conversation started, because I know I'm a specific character, there's no accident that I have this level, this kind of, this color of skin, this specific accent, and this energy that I bring. That's no accident. It makes meditation exciting. So if I can do my bit to get the conversation started and train people how to meditate so that they can then evolve these practices and train other people, and start getting the world meditating, man, can you think of the parties we'd be attending? That excites me just alone. It'll just be fun. The world will be colorful.
I think with what's going on right now and the pandemic, and I have 3 teenage kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the mental health of teenagers that are living through this right now with the social media, they need this. I think the world needs this.
Absolutely.
So, Terry,
We all need this.
I think I appreciate everything you've done. I really enjoy. I've learned a lot today.
Thank you.
Now, people can learn more about you by going to meditatethebook.com.
Yes, meditatethebook.com. You'll get details about the book, as well as a little bit of information about me and how to learn more. But more importantly, I'd rather people take action and start learning how to meditate. If you go to meditatethebook.com starter pack /starter pack, get access to my mini course. There's a free mini course. I teach you the basics to help you get started. And I promise you, I'm throwing so much energy out in those videos, you're not going to get bored. And I'll teach you everything you need to know.
So right now, people can get started. They hear this, they can just start meditating tonight, tomorrow morning. They wake up.
Yep, they can start in. Again, it's training the mind to meditate. They can start their training today. It's like a marathon. You can't, I can give you the tools and teach you everything, but you've got to start training. You can't go to your first yoga class and expect to put your legs behind your heads. It takes time to stretch into it. Your mind has to get used to operating in this new way of detachment. And I promise you, just putting the things that I teach in this mini course and in the book into practice from day one and start practicing that. I also even you don't have to sit in contemplation. Just go to the grocery store and put a conscious breath in between every item you put in the basket. Carrots, breathe. Sprouts, breathe. Oranges, breathe. Garlic. Just practicing and placing a breath between every action will start teaching you how to meditate. It's very simple. I don't even know why. Sometimes I feel I can't believe I'm teaching this stuff. It's incredibly simple.
Yeah, no, I think it's great, and I'm excited. I'm going to check that out, and
Awesome.
Anybody listening to this, definitely check it out. Download the starter pack.
100%. Get the starter pack, get the book, and learn. Better your life already.
After this, I feel like just taking a 20-minute meditation and just breathing and bringing it all in. Thank you so much.
There's guided meditations for you in that starter pack too to help you out, and it's instructional. It's not going to be like, now listen to my voice and you're stuck with me for the rest of this meditation. Now I'll guide you to a meditation. The music kicks in and you start.
Great. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, Terry.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Take care.